Early Saturday morning, runners will line up at Camp Mabry for the Dash for Dad, a fun run aimed at fighting the most commonly diagnosed cancer among men. In fact, experts say a man dies from prostate cancer every 18 minutes in this country. But Jim Swift tells us Saturday's event will take place against the backdrop of growing confusion about how to fight back.
Austin musician Van Wilkes learned he had prostate cancer almost 4 years ago.
All I know was that 2 out of 12 painful biopsies were definitely cancerous. I was 57. Children were not in my future. I said, take it.
Surgeon Randy Fagan used a robotic technique like the one in this video to remove Wilkes' prostate gland. And afterward, the musician became an advocate for a screening method called the prostate-specific antigen, or PSA test.
It makes me feel like I'm giving back something.
But these days, Wilkes, like many others, is confused.
There's pros and cons to all of this. I just know what I felt like was best for me at that time. If it happened today, I'd reevaluate.
The confusion lies in a recent recommendation from a federal panel arguing that though PSA testing for prostate cancer does save lives, it also leads to an unacceptable number of unnecessary surgical and radiation treatments that can cause urinary leaking and sexual impotence, not to mention painful biopsies that can result in serious infections. I can testify to that part of it. This is a picture of me in an Austin hospital for treatment of just that sort of infection after a PSA test diagnosed cancer in my own prostate gland.
I mean, God, Jim, you've been through this, you know.
Fagan, now the head of a robotic surgery institute, was the surgeon who removed my prostate. For him, the task force recommendation amounts to drawing an arbitrary mathematical line in the sand.
There is a line, and at a certain point in time, this number of lives isn't worth saving. For the greater good of the community, this number of lives isn't worth it. And I've seen those lives. They've been my patients. And to say that those lives aren't worth it, regardless of the number, is hard for me as a physician to accept.
The surgeon argues that PSA readings are valuable when properly interpreted by specialists who also consider a host of other factors and then help patients learn about all of their options.
To recommend that ignorance is bliss when it comes to cancer is not a statement that I agree with.
And for his part, Wilkes agrees.
Don't be complacent, be aware, make your own decision, but don't be stupid.
Jim Swift, KXAN News.
And preparations for that Dash for Dad prostate cancer awareness run began at 7:30 Saturday morning out at Camp Mabry, and the gun goes off at 9 a.m. You can find more information about this race and about the PSA debate online now with this story. It's on the local news page at KXAN.com.